Experiments we've uncovered range from the savage to the stupid, injecting puppies with cocaine, staging hamster fight clubs, putting dead turtles on treadmills.
Oh, my
One of the
God.
reasons this
Felipe.
problem has gotten so out of control is
Wait,
the
pause it,
sudden lack
pause
of
it,
innovation.
Putting dead turtles on treadmills?
I mean, come on. I guess once to see it, put it on the high speed to see how far it shoots out
Yeah,
the back.
like if you're doing the turtle toss, Olympic sport, that's one thing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new edition of Over the Line. Everybody clap. Everybody,
Yes.
round of applause. There we go. Yes, this is a very exciting podcast, as this is, I know I've already done this one time, but we're doing it again. This is our very first Bubba Army podcast. Yeah, there we go. There we go, baby. We kind of messed up because we got with the guys of Seth in particular, and we talked about them carrying our podcast, and he said send me something next week, and instead of listening to what he said, I sent it that same day.
But you gave him a chance to hear.
Yeah, and I guess he listened to it.
Oh, by the way, I'm fine.
How are you, John Bird?
Gosh. Yeah, I'm fascinated with this. You know what that is?
What?
Worry Stone. It's not the one I fished out of the toilet. But I've been using it a lot lately, and it really calms me down.
Really helping you out.
Yeah,
huh?
I've been sleeping with it. I'll put it on the area beside me, and there's some kind of, I don't know, some kind of thing. This is amethyst. It's good for calming you down.
I don't know what any of that means, but
high-tech stuff.
To introduce ourselves to the Bubba Army, I'm Andrew. I'm a radio guy, political talk show host in Birmingham, Alabama. This is John Bird, formerly a political radio talk show host producer before he got fired right before Christmas. And Tony Gump, who is the smartest man since Elon Musk.
I don't know about that.
And used to live in Tampa at one point, believe it or not.
True.
He's a Tampa guy and probably has run across Bubba the Love Sponge a time or two.
Okay. Can you do mine again? Because you basically said, John got fired.
John Bird is a 61-year-old individual with a lot of talents.
I'm crazy. I've got some.
And he's crazy, and he's got a lot of mental and emotional
but I'm not
issues.
violent, so that's a good thing.
And he's medicated.
Yeah,
that helps. In a comparison, and I've heard this already before, to Bubba's show, you are the Tuttle. There's a guy named Tuttle that you two would get along very well. Y'all both have similar problems. He's a lot younger than you, though, I think.
What the hell does that mean?
just the reality.
My friends are younger than me.
I know. Trust me, I know.
I'm hip. I'm friends with you guys, and you guys are a little bit younger than me.
Yeah. You're younger than, like, never mind. Take that back. You're older than my mom by 6 days.
I know. That's why I stopped calling her mom and started calling her Sharon. I was like, this is a little weird.
That gets weird. You just call her cousin or something. Cuz.
Bird's old enough, he still might get some of the Social Security money before it runs out.
That's true. That's true.
You got an advantage there, right there.
I don't want that stuff.
It runs out in 2033, and you're going to beat that.
No,
yeah.
Forget that. I'll be working the day I die, let me tell you.
You probably will, actually. But so, yeah, we're very excited, and I was super excited when they mentioned us on the show. This was the first time they did it. This was, sometime several days ago, and Bubba was talking to Seth about the podcast that they got coming up, and I'm always early in the morning. I'm on the treadmill, and I'm watching Bubba on YouTube, and as soon as Bubba brings up the podcast stuff, I'm like, oh, they're going to say something about us. They're going to say, because part of me was like, is this even real? Are they really going to carry our podcast? Right. I didn't know if they were just dragging me along or what, but they actually did it. This is Bubba's show from several days ago when they first brought up the Over the Line podcast.
Well, give that a listen. Then I know you got a bunch of others too. Wow.
Yeah, there's one called Over the Line, Bubba, which is pretty good. I listened to it the other day.
Over the Line.
Yeah, with Andrew McLean.
Yeah, he's on the. What does he have? A morning show in Alabama?
It's afternoon 99.5 in Birmingham.
Oh, okay. And did our Tigbits guy find this guy?
No, Andrew's a listener.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Hi, Andrew.
So
and so he's a fellow radio guy that does afternoon drive terrestrially, and he's Bubba Army.
Yeah, he's a political guy.
That's cool. I like other radio guys that admit that we're pretty good, and we are your favorite show because you're not trying to compete with me, and you're secure enough in your own radio skin to admit that we are pretty damn good, and you like me.
Yeah, so I think that they have a lot of potential. I told him to send me a show next week sometime, and he sent me a show last night. So
wow,
yeah, so
that's ready to go.
And then some more. I think we got like 4, maybe.
And we're gonna send him this one. That's the moral of the story.
It created talking. It created buzz.
Yeah,
and that was a good show.
And Bubba's used to, and I've said this before, Bubba's so used to like radio people coming after him, in his very lengthy career, that he was surprised to hear that another radio guy's like, "Hey, I like your show." I don't think he hears that a lot. Now, I don't know. That may come from a place of jealousy or whatnot.
Radio folks most of them are notoriously insecure.
Yeah.
And they will stab you in the back and they'll get you fired.
Yeah, you've experienced that firsthand.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to talk about that.
Not this last time you got fired, but it was
years ago,
time.
and it sent my life into a spiral that cost me my family. It cost me... How's everybody doing?
Listen, this is our introduction to the Bubba Army. Don't get emotional. Good Lord. So yeah, they talked about us or whatever, and then we talked about it again on a previous show. No, I take that back. This was when we first brought it up when I was first talking to Lummy, and I said something about this one of their podcasts that they were kind of complaining about. And I'm like, well, maybe they can just boot them off and put us on there. I don't know how many are on the roster, if there's any available slots or what. And so it ended up causing all this controversy, which is not really the introduction we want to the Bubba Army, but it's what we've been given. So Tiggs, who is a host of one of the other podcasts, he picked that up and he listened to it. And he says, do you realize what podcast that you're attacking? Apparently what I did was I called the podcast that they were talking about on the morning show the wrong name. And so, like, if there's a good podcast and a bad podcast, and I'm not saying any of them are good or bad,
right?
Or I'm not saying any of them are bad. They're all good as far as I'm concerned. But if there's a good podcast and a bad podcast, I called the good podcast bad.
Yeah, really good.
And that one that didn't work out. So these guys on Tigbits assessed that whole situation. Listen to what they said.
I want to bring us back because I think y'all are going to get a kick out of this, and it's kind of fun. So there are these guys called Over the Line. It's the name of their show. They're from Alabama, somewhere in Alabama, I think Birmingham. But they follow our show, and they have for a while. They've been in our chat some. Funny. They have a great show. They really do. Well, they're huge Bubba fans, and Andrew is the main guy here, and he's asked me, how did y'all get on this Bubba network and all that? And I'm like, well, number one, I think it was just right place, right time. Got lucky, Blasey.
We have Blasey.
We have Blasey.
We got a secret weapon. We got a damn assault weapon ninja voice master named Chad, the one man plot,
which really helped get Bubba's attention on it because he explained, as y'all know,
everybody gets lucky.
Everything so delicately. Got to give a little humble brag to the guy who decided to chop that up and put it out on the internet.
Absolutely.
But it was like, that was obvious. Holy cow, what is this guy talking about? Hulk Hogan, a sex scandal. Oh yeah, I do kind of remember that. And that's how it all, this is going to be gold. And it was, and it still is. So that's how we got to where we're at. And I basically told him that, kind of right place, right time, got lucky. He asked me again, how'd y'all do that? And I told him, and he's like, I've been talking to Lummy and all, and I'm going to play these clips. You're going to hear it. And I said, you're talking to the wrong guy, dude. You're talking to the wrong guy. Well, then he tagged us in a video that he made talking about Bubba and the podcasts and all of that. So I'm just going to let it play and speak for itself. Get your instant reaction. Just set it up so we know a little bit about these guys. We don't want to get too close to these guys. We don't want to be put in a corner with these guys. But seem to be good guys. But tell me what you think about this.
We talked on the show countless times about Bubba the Love Sponge. Y'all know how much I love that show. I've been listening to him for years, all the way back to the Sirius XM days. They have a slew of podcasts that they put on their platforms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of them they do themselves. Some of them they kind of farm people in to do them.
Mm-hmm.
And there's even one that is just kind of some independent guys, and they said, hey, you know, you're more than welcome to use one of our podcasts per week, yada, yada, yada. And I got to thinking, like, why can't we have our podcast on Bubba's network?
Oh, no. Man, are you serious?
And so I pitched the idea, but I really haven't gotten anywhere with it. But like, I've been talking to his producer, Lummy.
Okay.
And I've been pitching it to him, and I don't know if they're watching it and they're like, man, this stuff sucks or what. But yesterday, 2 days ago, I'm listening to the show, and they're talking about it. And they're talking about there's one particular podcast that they've got where the guys come in and they're like totally unprepared. Like they don't have they're supposed to be some, I guess maybe a conspiracy show.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Operation Pigmentation. Okay. And so that's where we mess up.
Yeah.
And the Tick Bits guys.
Honest mistake.
Yeah. But the Tick Bits guys, they proceed to like just wear me out. Like
They jumped on that like a dog in a bone.
And listen, for that it's for good reason, because what I was doing inadvertently was I was attacking Seth's pet project, his baby, on accident. I was calling it the wrong name. I don't even Operation Decalcification is the name of the other one now, and I'm not saying like I just don't have time to listen to a whole lot of podcasts, because between doing this and doing the radio show and being a dad and all this, it's just hard for me to squeeze anything else in.
Sure.
And so, and I don't want that to be something that takes away from anybody else's podcast, because I know how difficult it is to maintain this. You all know that as well.
Oh, yeah.
But the reason I said it was because on Bubba's show just a few days prior, they were talking about this show, and it was a new show, this calcification show, that the guys came in and they didn't really do a whole lot of show prep. Now, if they're not experienced podcast people, they might just generally not know to do show prep. And so Seth had to guide the ship the whole way, and Bubba seemed frustrated with it and said, you know, hey, there's no need to do that. You got enough on your plate already. I need to talk to those guys and get them to do it. So that's what prompted me to bring it up. But I screwed the pooch, and I called it Operation Pigmentation. And so it looked to them, and they ended up figuring it out on the back end, but it looked to them initially like I was bashing Seth's show when we needed Seth to put this show on the Bubba Army Podcast Network.
And let's make this clear. You would not have bashed Seth's shows even if we didn't get on the network.
That's absolutely correct.
Yeah, that's true.
Actually, like Seth, when he first started on the show, because there had been some turnover over the past, I don't know, year or 2 years. And every time you get used to somebody, something would happen, and they'd get rid of them and bring somebody else in. And I didn't know how to feel about Seth at first. I didn't know him prior, even though he had worked for Bubba before, and he was just a general radio guy. But over time, he's actually pretty funny. He's got some good one-liners that he throws in there. And it's not easy to make me laugh for radio people, because when you're in the business yourself, as a host, you're hypercritical of everybody else, and you're analyzing every little thing they do. But no, Seth's funny, and I'm not saying that to like get any sort of favor. I generally think he's funny. There's another. Oh, go ahead. Oh, I thought Tony said something.
Tony?
No, I didn't.
Was that a
say
ghost?
It was me. It was me. No, I actually have been texting Seth back and forth, and he invited me down to let me stay at his place.
Really?
Yeah. I can't wait. Seth.
Are you making that up?
No. What the hell? How dare you? Yeah, I got him. I was trying to be impressive. I'm sorry.
I'm sure Seth would like you, though.
I think so.
There's other people, though, that are not in good graces on that show, and this happened just few days ago. One guy by the name of Rhett, and this set the tone for the entire week. So as I said, I'm watching early in the morning. The show they're on Eastern time, so it starts at 5. It's 5 to 9, and they get in, and the way they take their breaks is kind of weird. Like it feels like they almost take breaks every half hour, where we have to take them like every quarter. And so you're used to the show starting and the break coming, 20, 25, 30 minutes later. They end up taking an early break, and I'm going to explain why. I'm watching the show, and they're talking. This is the day after the Super Bowl, and they're talking about the halftime show. And Bubba was not having that halftime show whatsoever. He did not like it. So he went down this road of, outside of not liking it in general, that it was a bad business decision on behalf of the NFL, because this guy is kind of alienating large swaths of the demographics that watch the Super Bowl. Your 35 to 64s or whatever, because most of them didn't know. I mean, you didn't know anything about Kendrick Lamar.
What? No, that was Tony.
Okay,
I didn't know squat about
I've
him.
been down with KO for a long time.
He is wearing a Tupac shirt right now.
Respect.
Wait till the Bubba Arby gets a load of angry Shakespeare, by the way.
Oh yeah, we got one coming up.
So anyway, his point was there's a lot of white boomers out there that don't know anything and don't care anything about
Gen
Kendrick
Xers.
Lamar. Gen Xers as well. And so that's the point he was trying to make. But a guy by the name of Rhett, who is their video guy, kept pushing back on Bubba on that issue. Rhett, obviously a younger guy, likes Kendrick Lamar, and so he keeps pushing back and keeps pushing back until it just pisses Bubba off, and he sends him home. He just straight boots him off the show. You watch this right here. This was and again, this has set the tone for the entire week on Bubba's show.
So, I mean, 35 to 64, they did 55 million, and 25-54, they did 49 million. Meanwhile, between 12 and 17, they did 6 million. So, do they know their demographics? Do they know that 35 to 64s make up 55 million of their audience? And do you think that anybody between the ages of 35 and 64 knew what the hell Kendrick Lamar's beat like anything about it? Even 25 to 54. 50 million people, so we have 105 million people between 25, 54 and 35 and 64. That's over half of your audience, and I don't think that any of those would understand what the Super Bowl halftime was all about.
I have no idea.
I mean, I don't think the NFL. I could think of maybe 5 or 6 mega stars you could have put on there, bands and or solo artists that would probably appease those demographics better than Kendrick Lamar. And to give a guy, a 15 to 20 minute complete open forum just to diss, that's the problem with our mentality, is everybody thinks that this diss thing is what people want to see, hear, or that it's entertaining. Really?
Everybody kind of waited around for it.
Yeah, well,
they sure did. For the
Yeah,
end.
they sure
People got
did.
really excited.
That's Rhett talking right there.
A minor at the top of their lungs.
Right.
Well, but I think the best halftime shows are the ones that kind of transcends the generations. And you're talking about bands that have been around a while that older people recognize, younger people still appreciate. Having a niche guy like this, again, he's a superstar in a small age group. And like you said, Bubba, the majority of the people don't know who he is, don't
He's
really care.
He's the biggest name in hip hop, Dan. What do you mean? It's not a niche
The
group.
biggest name in hip hop.
It's a niche.
He just won Record of the
If
Year
you're
at the Grammys.
40 to 70 years old, it's irrelevant to you,
Right.
Brett. That's what I'm saying. It's not. It's a niche.
Look at the
It is a niche.
Brett, look at the demographics. Look at the pure numbers, not who's got Song of the Year or who's got
We're
this.
talking about
We're talking about. Hold on.
streaming numbers?
We're talking.
Strauss TV, $20, fly Eagles
No,
fly.
I understand what you're saying, because there's
No, you
definitely
don't.
a huge...
No, you don't. Because you don't. You don't understand what I'm saying.
All right, I'm done.
If you just look at the demo. Okay, great, no problem. Let's just make that a lot forever. Thanks.
Oops.
You're gonna tell me when you're done, bud? No, I'll tell you when you're done, and it's now. It's right now. I didn't hire you to be an on-air host. I hired you to be a video guy, and I've trickle-aided you on the show. And for you to be a dick, I'm over it. I am absolutely over it.
Nice.
Wow.
Let me do some words.
Bubba, I'm liking it more and more.
If you love that
Wait, watch. When they go to the break,
BubbaArmyHQ.com.
they do a hot mic during the break. Listen to this.
The Bubba the Love Sponge Show will be right back.
You'll be able to hear them in a second.
Tell him to get his ass and go the fuck home.
All right.
I'm over it. Done.
Is that the guy?
That was Lummy.
Oh, it's Lummy.
Okay, so anyway, Bubba, dude, they go to the break. Bubba's like, let me go tell him to go home. And he hasn't been back since.
I don't think he's going to be back.
Nah, I think he is coming back.
I think he learned a lesson. I'll say that.
Hey, I'll tell you, and you, to your credit, never did this to me. But if you're a talk show host, if your producer does something to, not to necessarily make you look dumb, but if they do something that would almost be construed as an effort to make you look dumb, or not to look dumb, but to correct you, that's not something you want to do to a
It's
host.
that insecurity, man.
And so when you do that, and I've had it happen to me a few times where, a producer will try to, like, somebody fill in for you and they try to correct me on something. And I'm like, this ain't your show, cuzzy.
That's an old rule of man. You never question management in public or around other people. You do it individually, off air, whatever.
Tony Gump, as a business owner, would have fired him in a heartbeat.
You praise in public and then you do the other in private.
Yeah. And when you do it on a radio show, it's very public.
How old is this guy, this kid?
I have no idea. I don't know a whole lot about him. I think he's probably in his, maybe mid to late 20s.
Okay.
But,
I'll take him down. If they will pay my plane fare and put a camera on me, I'll beat the shit out of him. I'm telling you, man, 29 or not. Because you know what? I don't care. I don't care. If he killed me, that's fine. I've had 61 years.
Well, you're Bubba Army now, and you're ready to whoop some ass.
You're damn right. Don't nobody talk to my Bubba that way.
That's good.
Respect.
You could use some of the OnlyFans money to go there, too.
That's true.
That's true.
There's a lot that the Bubba Army does not know about you that we're probably going to trickle it in because we don't want to overload them. But we'll have to introduce them to a few things, such as your OnlyFans, where your name is Dr. Dingaling.
Dr. Dingaling.
Things of that nature.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
Get you some subs and all that kind of stuff. How much does it cost per month, your OnlyFans?
$400.
$400 a month.
Probably why I don't have any subscribers.
Probably.
Yeah. I'll probably lower it to like $11.
But hey, with Bubba's show, people send him money on a regular basis. Like, they just shoot money to him, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. So they've obviously got some change in their pocket. They may sign up.
I'll show them my blurred genitals if they'll pay.
Well, for $400, they better not be blurred.
Yeah, I know. Well, no, I'm not going down that path. This is class. This is a medical thing that I'm doing.
Medical OnlyFans.
Yes, exactly. And we're going to be doing, coming up soon, we're going to be doing the Ask Dr. Dingaling segment.
Okay. Anyway, some of the news going on right now, we got to talk about that. The biggest thing has been the Doge, Elon Musk, government efficiency, the fraud, waste, and abuse that's been going on all across the federal government for decades. This is nothing new. But what they've uncovered has been so absurd, and we've talked about it over and over. Every day brings something new where it's like, that's what, all that money you took out of my check, like that's what, if people could see what Tony pays in taxes, they'd be nauseated. If they could see what I paid in taxes last year, it's nauseating. It's just like, that's a lot of money coming from individuals. If it comes out of your paycheck, that's a lot of money that's going to the government, and to find out that that's where that money's going, it's like you can't even pay some random person's, medical bills or
the stuff is so ridiculous. The groups and organizations and things it's so ridiculous that it's obvious. It's obvious that it's money laundering.
Well, let me show you how backed into a corner Democrats are on this issue. Okay. They're upset that Elon Musk is doing this, but they are not presenting any sort of argument about why what he's found is not as bad as we think it is.
Awfully quiet.
Like there's no, well, no, I know you think that's government waste, but it's not. Let me explain. There's none of that. What they did today may have been the peak embarrassment for them. So they hold a committee hearing, and Democrats bring in their own witness, and they brought in somebody from the federal government, a guy from the Project on Government Oversight, the Government Affairs Director. This guy is supposed to be watching out for fraud, and he claims that he hasn't seen any fraud. The catch is the guy is blind.
No.
They brought in a blind man to the committee hearing to tell us that he hasn't seen any fraud.
Oh, God. That's a Saturday Night Live skit right
I'm like,
there.
it's almost like they're like, they've admitted that they've lost, and they're like, well, let's just have fun with it at this point. Let's make some viral clips. There's no way that can be real.
I mean,
but it is. They had a blind guy in there.
Gosh, maybe they're going for sympathy or something. Just anything they can.
The part that gets me is we're upset about paying all these taxes. Taxes, it's unconstitutional in the first place.
That's
the income taxes shouldn't even be here. It's unconstitutional. It's a bunch of crap.
What year did income taxes get implemented? It was
1913. Originally, they tried it in the late 1800s at 1%, and then the Supreme Court overruled it.
Country almost went to war over that, over 1%.
Yeah, 1% threw them all to hell, but it came back in 1913 after the Federal Reserve Act and the creation of IRS.
Is that Woody Wilson?
Woodrow Wilson.
Well, and this is the point Trump continues to make. He says it's not a far out concept to say that we can eliminate income taxes yet again and just make our money through tariffs. Would tariffs raise prices a little bit? Yeah, maybe not. Maybe we start making everything in America and stuff's cheaper. Who knows? But even if the prices went up a little bit, you're still getting a lot more money in your check to cover that little bit of expenses that are coming from tariffs. Like,
it would be a consumer-based tax overall instead of what you earned with labor.
Correct.
It would be in what you spent for your goods.
You'd essentially be taxed whether you had a job or not, instead of you working, getting money pulled out of your check every week, and then paying for somebody who doesn't want to work. Not somebody that can't work, but somebody that doesn't want to work.
Mm-hmm. Big difference.
And so the money. And here's what I don't understand: the animal people, where are y'all at? Because if you see some of the money's been wasted on when it comes to animals, and the fact that they are literally murdering animals with your tax dollars.
Where's PETA?
For what?
Where are you, PETA?
Where you at, PETA?
I ain't seen no naked butts running around.
This is another committee hearing. They had a guy in there explaining some of the stuff that they found when it comes to the medical research on animals.
It is estimated that over $20 billion a year of taxpayers' money is still wasted annually on ineffective and inhumane tests on tens of millions of puppies, kittens, and other animals. Am I being flippant when I use the word waste? Absolutely not. The NIH itself has said, quote, animal models fail to mimic disease or predict how drugs will work in humans, resulting in much wasted time and money, end quote. Yet agencies continue to dump billions of tax dollars into animal tests despite the horrible return on investment. Experiments we've uncovered range from the savage to the stupid, injecting puppies with cocaine, staging hamster fight clubs, putting dead turtles on treadmills.
Oh, my
One of the
God.
reasons this
Felipe.
problem has gotten so out of control is
Wait, pause it.
innovation.
Putting dead turtles on treadmills?
I mean, come on. I guess once to see it, put it on the high speed, see how far it shoots out.
Yeah,
the back.
like if you're doing the turtle toss, Olympic sport, that's one thing. But like, what are you trying to accomplish scientifically with
the strength of a turtle shell? What can he withstand?
And just throw them up against the wall until they crack. Hamster fight clubs was another. Yeah. Now, all right, if I'm being honest, like hamster fight club doesn't seem like that bad of an idea, but you should use your own money for it.
Yeah, well, you got to give them steroids or something, because I mean, they just kind of get.
You give them little boxing gloves.
Yeah, I mean, if you want I want to see some heads ripped off, stuff like that, and have other have mice that are attending.
Yeah, little mice.
I think that would be great.
Mouse crowd.
Yeah.
John Bird's the only one that can go from the beginning of the podcast, almost getting emotional, to 10 minutes later, he's talking about ripping a hamster's head off.
True.
Well, no, not me. No. The fighters, and they'll train and all that. It'll be up to them. But, I mean, the first rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club.
That's true. We better stop talking about it. Anyway, go ahead. Back with this animal stuff.
Transparency and accountability. Agencies do not report or even track in some cases how much money is being spent, how many animals are used, what's being done to them, where, and what taxpayers are getting out of it. We file hundreds of FOIA requests every year to glean just basic information. When we can find out how tax dollars are being spent, it becomes apparent why federal agencies fight against disclosing details. For example, Senator Rand Paul's December 2024 Festivus report highlighted cruel taxpayer-funded
Festivus?
by my organization. In one $10 million DARPA grant, cats have marbles shoved up their rectums and are electroshocked to make them defecate in constipation experiments. We've also recently identified over $240 million in NIH grants for transgender animal experiments, including $26 million in active funding. Some of these tests, as the chairwoman mentioned, examine the effects of party drugs on animals injected with testosterone and how hormones used for human gender transitions impact the size and shape of animals' genitals.
Okay.
I'm still on the marbles up the ass thing. I mean, come on. I mean, but you know what? In L.A. and some parts of L.A. and New York, that's a common thing.
Right. So they're putting marbles up the hind end of a cat to check on constipation levels. I mean, why don't you just wait until they poop and see how that works out?
They come up with interesting ways to waste our money they shouldn't be getting in the first place.
And by the way, at the end of the day, 90% of the testing, the medical testing they do on animals with the intention of passing that over to humans, 90% of it fails. There's only 10% that they then move over to humans that actually work in any way, shape, or form. So it's all a waste.
Yeah, you would think that they would learn after a while, but you know what they're doing is they're busy betting on the cats with the. If you think about it, I bet there was betting going on.
Yeah, how many marbles
how
cat
long
fits
can
in
Fluffy?
this
Yeah, how long will Fluffy hold? You know,
lunchroom talk would have been exciting in that lab.
Yeah. Well, I put 62 marbles in my cat's ass today. What about you, Bill? I'll bet you would, Bill.
Yeah, Bill.
Hey, Bill.
Here's another one. There are at least. I know that's a bizarre picture of that mouse who looks terrified. There are at least 15 active NIH grants paying for transgender animal experiments. Okay. One experiment at, get this, the University of Alabama at Birmingham, UAB.
Oh, no.
Cost you, John Bird, $668,000 to study whether mice receiving so-called gender-affirming hormone therapy responded well to treatments for kidney failure.
Dang.
At the University of Michigan, $2.5 million was spent since 2019 turning mice transgender to study testosterone treatment on reproductive phenotype and function and determine. That's a big word right there. Determine the reversibility of these effects following cessation of the hormone. And then $9.7 million in Oregon to expand and improve knowledge of the development of neurobiological determinants of sexual partner preferences using domestic sheep as the experimental model. The goal is to turn rams gay by controlling testosterone secretion by the fetal testes. Y'all remember when Alex Jones said they're turning the frogs gay?
Yep.
Well,
sure
here it is.
yeah.
Here it is.
Yep, they hadn't gotten
We're
that
turning the
far.
rams gay.
God.
He was right about like everything.
That's pretty wild.
I'm surprised he's still alive. I mean, really, if you think about it, especially now with everything coming out.
You do, man. That is bizarre that Alex Jones, you think about the people that have mysteriously died from, Andrew Breitbart to Seth Rich to whoever. The list goes on and on. You got a whole Clinton body count list. People that go against the system and they end up getting killed somehow. Must be all those vitamins that he sells on his website that keep him alive. They hit him with the heart attack gun, and he's like, I've got silver in my body.
Yeah, the vitamins are a good markup for him, and since corporations won't sponsor with him because they get attacked if they sponsor on his show, and that's what stopped that a long time ago.
Well, thank God this stuff's getting exposed. And it's getting exposed by a group of kids, by the way.
Yes.
You know, from 19 to 25 years old, college kids. Yeah, and there's one, his nickname is Big Balls. He's actually now been given a job at the State Department, so he's got better access to these files.
Dang.
But the best part of it is the fact that the news media, CNN and MSNBC, have been repeating the term big balls over and over and over because they think that's, I don't know, somehow detrimental to Elon Musk and their mission. And it's like, no, actually, you're just getting trolled here.
Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with Musk and Big Balls.
Big Balls.
Big Balls. Big Balls, who work for Elon Musk's so-called Department of Government Efficiency, Doge.
In the one case of the Big Balls kid, a literal teenager.
Big Balls online, Big Balls here that Katie's talking about.
A 19-year-old that goes by the username Big Balls.
So that would be one way that we could refer to him.
Young computer whizzes, the aforementioned Big Balls.
Because who among us doesn't feel better about big balls in charge of American air traffic control?
Big balls.
Man.
I never thought I'd hear Rachel Maddow say, who doesn't feel good about big balls?
Really?
I thought she went into that kind of thing.
You know what? Got them balls in the wind.
Balls in the wind. Oh, that's classic. And then with that, Elon Musk couldn't help himself, and he changed his Twitter handle to Harry Balls. And so, of course, he did that because he knew the media would start repeating the term Harry Balls once he did that. Here's CNN.
Now, the disruptor-in-chief, Elon Musk, who apparently has adopted the alias, at least he changed his social media handle to Harry Balls, this morning, democracy in America is being destroyed by judicial coup.
Oh, that's good.
An activist judge is not a real judge.
Harry Balls.
I love it, man.
Man.
Oh, my gosh.
That's good stuff.
Balls to the wall.
Balls in the wind.
That guy has got to be on cloud nine. That kid, could you imagine going home and, hey, I'm Harry Balls or Big Balls?
Big
or
balls,
whatever.
yeah. And he's like, everybody in the media tells me how big my balls are.
And he's hanging around with Harry Balls. I mean, they're just swinging in the wind.
Wait, Big Balls is working for Harry Balls.
Yes.
And that's a compliment from Anderson Cooper. He's seen a lot of testes in his day.
Yeah, well, he called somebody on his show the other day a dick because he was pushing back on him. And I'm like, is that a compliment? Since Anderson Cooper likes dick?
Maybe he's able to get away with saying it because he is Anderson Cooper.
Okay.
Because he's gay.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, if you like dick, that's fine. I don't care. But I don't think you can say dick on TV like that.
No.
We can say dick on Bubba Armory podcast.
Well, if it was somebody's name, like Richard or Dick or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anderson Cooper really loves a good Richard.
Dick Vitale, whatever.
Hey, baby! Oh, Harry Balls for 3!
Anderson Cooper likes a mouthful of Richard, doesn't he?
Oh, God.
Okay. That's enough. The protests have been entertaining, though.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
Elon
Must see.
and people threatening to. I don't know what they think they're doing, but
They don't know.
Whatever they're doing, it produced this banger at one of their recent protests.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Tell me, which side are you on?
Trump.
Which side are you on?
Harry Balls.
We'll fight against Joe.
No tax.
We'll fight Elon Musk.
Harry Balls.
No Elon scab within our walls. We'll fight from dawn to dusk. Oh, which side are you on?
Okay, I want that audio. I'm putting a beat to that.
Watch them copyright us for this song.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Trump's coming for our unions. He wants us all to fail. He wants us to bow to him.
So you better be good for goodness sake.
I know it did start to have like a Christmas song vibe, didn't it? All right, enough of that. My ears are bleeding.
Oh gosh, I can't wait, man.
But that wasn't even the best part of that whole protest. The best part was when this lady came up to the podium and made these comments.
I've been told I have 30 seconds, so I am going to tell you that we do have to. I don't swear in public very well, but we have to fuck Trump.
What? You have to what? Go back. Rewind that again. Let's what did I hear what I think I just heard?
Yes, you heard.
Did she say? Did she say? Move it up a little bit. Did she say she wants to? I'll let her say it. I'm not going to repeat it.
We do have to. I don't swear in public very well, but we have to fuck Trump.
Yeah.
Okay.
You wish.
Okay. I don't know that that's an effective strategy against Doge and the Trump administration. I don't know that going and having sex with him is
okay. And no offense, but where are the kids at that? I mean, they were all Gen Xers.
A lot of these people don't have kids that are thinking the way they think, John.
No.
You know?
They're either sterilizing themselves or they've already chopped their stuff off.
Yeah, they all need to literally just shave their heads, sterilize themselves, and then talk to us afterwards. So that way we can wean them out over time.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I mean, if you don't want to have kids, that's fine. But especially if you're these people, like, I'm really for you not having kids. Because you're going to raise little yous, and we don't need any more of you. But one is enough. One is plenty enough.
Now, the older I get, the more I realize that there's a lot to be said for people that either have kids or believe in a supernatural being called God. And when you don't have God and you don't have any kids, you're basically just living in the moment, and there's really no consequences in your train of thought.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know?
Because I think that kids remind us of our mortality and how we can live on.
Yeah, and you want to make your kids' lives better than your own as you go.
Right.
Yeah, and it
Something
gives
to care
you
about.
Something to strive
Motivation.
for. Yeah. You want your kid to be successful and do better than you did, and that doesn't always pan out,
yeah,
obviously.
My
but
son's 24. He's doing better than me.
Well, see, that means you did a good
That's
job as a
good.
dad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
or either you failed epically at life.
I'll tell you one thing. I will never, when we go out to dinner, I will never pay again. I mean, he's the one bringing down the big bucks.
Well, that's good.
I love him, man.
But with these people, there was a case, and I talked about this on the radio, out of, where was this? Worcester, Massachusetts. Their city council was, I would dare say, attacked. I don't know if attacked is the word, but they were bombarded by trans people or people from the LGBTQIA. And I separate that from gay and lesbian people because we love gay and lesbian people, but once we get into the, TQIA plus, then that's when it starts to get a little weird.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're uncomfortable with it being lumped in with that.
And so a lot of the TQIA people showed up at the city council demanding that the city council vote to make Worcester a sanctuary city for trans people. Because I don't know if they think trans people are getting deported or what. But this was, again, going back to, like, it almost seems like this is not real. Like we're watching a Saturday Night Live skit.
Yep.
This is from the city council.
I need the city to protect me because the federal government won't. And if you think you're afraid
Chocolate
of Trump,
factory.
you should see how afraid of Trump I am.
Can you wrap up, please?
Yes, I can. If you say that you're afraid of Trump and that's why you don't want the city to be a safe space for trans people, you better prepare for trans people to make this a very unsafe space.
I'm shaking right now. I don't want to be here.
Please?
I'm sorry, am I taking too long pleading for my life?
You remembered how many children I have and that 2 of them are trans.
I speak as both the B and the T in the LGBT.
It puts the lotion in the basket.
with that one.
Disabled, I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a connective tissue disorder that causes me immense physical pain.
I'm also Marge Simpson.
I'm on the autism spectrum.
Homie.
And I have narcolepsy, and I couldn't drive myself here, so I had to hide from my driver that I was in drag, which is not an easy thing to do in drag.
I do not want to be here.
What the?
I do not want to be in your DMs. I do not want to be in your email inboxes. I do not want my creativity writing diss tracks like Kendrick. I don't want to spend an hour applying glitter on my face so that you will hear and see me. I want you to listen to me.
Let us remember that the Nazis burned the books that Nazis burned.
Oh, this guy's not
on
LGBT.
gender sciences first.
He's getting paid.
Now
He's
the
reading something,
administration
probably.
has villainized
No,
and
he just heard there was free lunch. He's like, yeah, I'm totally trans.
He wants some clicks for his
LGBT
podcast.
people and even special needs, denying life-saving and affirming care.
Can you look at me and tell me how many of my friends need to die before you do anything?
Please.
A lot.
Look at me.
Okay, we're all done here.
Fucking pathetic.
We're all done. Come on.
Of course, we need to continue.
Okay, so I think we can all agree that there is a mental illness factor to the trans stuff. It's called gender dysphoria. Okay, this is not new. This was used to be backed by science until we started affirming this disease.
Yeah, the real story behind that is horrifying.
And I don't know of any other medical issue where the doctor would tell you, hey, you've got, cancer, let's affirm it. Like, no, let's try to fix it. Let's try to get rid of it.
Yep.
And that's what you get. That's your products. So do you want to, let's not go down this whole route, but just give him a screenshot. Well, I take that back. The Bubba Army can't see any of this, so we may have to do that at a later time.
Thank you.
He was Tony was about to preview your Dr. Dingaling.
I wanted to make sure the guys saw it, if they didn't catch it the first time.
Oh, they'll get the full taste of it at some point. So anyway, I'm glad that we're now part of the Bubba Army. I'm glad y'all are part of the Bubba Army.
I'm glad to be a part of the Bubba Army.
I've got to put in an order for some Bubba Army shirts, some Bubba Army swag. We may need to what size shirt you wear?
I'm a XL, but I'm a triple XL in my arms. No, you are.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I bet XL.
Okay, so XL. That's not going to be too small, is it?
No. Shut the hell up.
No, I'm not.
Oh, Mr. Skinny. Oh, yeah, let's make fun of the old man.
I'm not skinny.
Show him your guns.
No.
Come on, show him your guns.
Who am I?
Look at that. Come on, pull them back. Pull back. Dang. Woo.
That's all thanks to Mandu right there. Mm-hmm. But yeah, very excited about this. So if you're Bubba Army and you're listening to our show for the first time, thank you. This is a little bit of a weird show, I would say. We cover a lot of topics. We're mostly political, but I mean we've been known to take a TENS unit and stick it to John Bird's balls.
While he's dressed as an Irishman.
While he's dressed as an Irishman with a kilt. Yeah. And
well, one thing you mentioned when we were doing the radio show originally. We talk about it, and when politics can, especially when Biden was in office, they can just get so heavy.
Mm-hmm.
It can get so heavy. So we kind of do that to let everybody catch their breath and to let us catch our breaths.
Yeah, we've really got to be able to kind of back off a little bit, even though it's a lot more fun now that Trump's in office. And it's just every day gets better and better. But it moves at such a rapid pace.
I know it.
It's hard to keep up with.
It's way better than when Biden was in and we were getting all that crap for a few years. That was just horrible news all the time.
I was talking to Leland about it, and it's like sometimes, during the Biden administration, and this happens, no matter who's president, but there were so many slow news days. And as a radio guy, you would have to try to put together almost manufacture an angle to take on that show because there was nothing really floating out there. Mm-hmm. Here we are. I mean, we're not even a month in, and every single day has been jam-packed. Every single day, from bringing hostages home to, within the next few days, Trump is giving Hamas a deadline to release all the hostages or all hell's going to break loose. Well, that's going to be on TV. We're just going to... He's talking about taking over Gaza and everything else, and it's wild.
Well, when you think about the Biden administration, when you're screwing people over, you tend to want to be a little quiet and not as loud. And Trump now is being loud, and it's all over the place. But Biden, he barely did any conferences. He barely took questions. Mm-hmm. He was just slow crawling while everybody was cashing in on the other side.
A lot of sleeping.
Yeah. Well, and the big thing for me is I'm glad that Trump's president. But the last 4 years, it was really ripe for parody songs and parody videos.
Yeah, it was.
You know, it's kind of tough. It's kind of tough, finding something to be, because it's just fun.
You can put a beat to that song we played.
Oh, yeah, I will be.
There's going to be plenty of content coming out of those people.
Yeah.
Bunch of weirdos. All right, so what we do on these episodes each and every time, we depart with what we call final words. And that is you guys' opportunity to leave the audience with something, maybe inspirational, maybe it's a PSA, maybe it's a personal problem that you have, but it's just one final message for our audience, our over-the-line audience, and the Bubba Army audience. So, Tony Gump, go ahead.
Sure. Welcome all Bubba Army, and I'm looking forward to making America healthy again.
Yeah.
I want RFK Jr. in there. I want to be able to go to McDonald's and get a number 4 with a Coke and not worry about what's in it, or go to the grocery store and the Fruit Loops are as bright as a neon crayon, things like that. So we need to get more to basic natural things and enjoy life. And remember to get plenty of water, meat, sunlight, and sleep, and you'll be doing all right.
That's right. Tony Gump and RFK Jr. approve.
And I couldn't help but say Bubbles, because John Bird's glasses at the certain angle looks like that character Bubbles from the Trailer Park Boys.
Dude, we don't. Okay. So, Bubba Army, listen. I know you can't see this because you are just getting the audio version. But if you want to know what John Bird looks like, just Google Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys.
That's a lie. You know it, damn it. That's a lie.
Pull it up, Tony.
Only at a certain angle.
Pull it up.
I look like Kurt Russell. That's it.
You look like Kurt Russell and Bubbles had a baby. Can we say
not
that?
True. Bubbles is actually a great musician. I do not look like that at all.
Look.
What? Where? Don't see it. Don't see that. Oh no! Is that the true Dr. Dingaling? Look, he's.
Look. Do your mouth like that. Yeah. There it is. There it is.
All right.
Anyway, John Bird, final words. Go ahead, my friend.
Emasculation. That's what because that's what's happening. No, the word sunshine. Tony, you mentioned the word sunshine, and a lot of people. Yeah, there's been a lot of songs about sunshine. And a lot of people, they don't really take sunshine seriously. But you know what? Sunshine, it has a couple of things going for it. You think of sunshine is healthy. You make yourself healthy again by exposing yourself to sunshine. Don't do like me and just sit in the house watching reruns of Andy Griffith, drinking beer, and eating Cheez-Its. Don't do that. Get out there because it energizes you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wait, here's another thing. I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. But, there's a little trick I like to do. When you take the glasses off, it's believable. But I don't know what the hell I'm doing in this life. So, drink plenty of water and poop regularly. And, Tony, thank you for the bidet. Tony gave me a bidet. I spent last night like about 4 hours sitting on there with TikTok. Yeah, it's warm.
4 hours. You sat on a bidet for 4 hours?
And the thing is, yes, because it's warm, it your muscles don't like get all cramped up or anything.
Interesting.
Yeah, his has got the remote control where ours up here in the studio does not.
Yeah. So what I do is I keep it with me, and as I'm going upstairs,
go ahead and heat it up.
I heat it up, baby, like cranking a car.
What if he hits the wrong button and he gets up there and it's spraying everywhere all over the bathroom?
Oh, God, that would be bad.
It might have a sensor on the actual seat to make sure somebody's sitting on it for the water.
It's got a butthole sensor.
Yeah. A bidet's the best thing since French fries that the French have given us.
I thought you were going to document your bidet experience.
Now, you know what? After the Dr. Dingaling thing, I said, you know what? Let's bring it in. Let's bring it back a little bit, Okay. Let's bring it back a little bit.
That's fine. Whatever you want to do. Anyway, thank you, over the line audience. Thank you, Bubba Army. I'm sure that I don't know how this is going to go. Y'all may hate us, y'all may like us, but we'll keep putting out podcasts for you. So, with that said, until next time, see you, cuz!